Thank you so much, Senator Lujan, and really appreciate your leadership and Senator Klobuchar's leadership in highlighting this critical and obviously timely challenge that we have. Now, we're here today because in order to make life easier for billionaires, apparently that's an agenda item, congressional Republicans are pushing a budget bill that would literally harm young children, would harm single mothers, would harm Americans with disabilities, would harm countless seniors, some of the most vulnerable members of our communities. And Republicans would have you believe that SNAP benefits are some sort of luxury, the way they talk about it. Nobody aspires to live on food stamps. What food stamps is a lifeline for millions of Americans. And I want to make crystal clear to the American people that cutting $300 billion from SNAP would be devastating. It's outright cruelty, literally taking from the poor to give to the rich. No one in our country should go hungry because billionaires need another tax break. That's the Republican agenda. So today we're here to expose these devastating cuts, literally the largest in history, for what they really are. Tax breaks for billionaires paid for by the most vulnerable in our society. Now, one of the most concerning elements of the bill is how it targets immigrant communities. There's immigrants in every state in the nation. It targets them through deliberate exclusions of tax-paying non-citizens or their families from receiving child tax credit, Medicaid, and SNAP. And I'll remind those watching that Californians who are undocumented pay $8.5 billion a year in taxes, yet they are excluded from the public programs that their tax dollars are funding. But this bill would go even further and target immigrants with legal status. So we can and are having a debate about how many undocumented residents in the United States and how and why. But here we're talking about the impact on legal immigrants and the states that use their own state funds to provide additional non-federal benefits to non-citizens. Commissioner Gwynn, can you share how the bill would take food assistance away from lawfully present immigrants who have long been eligible for SNAP, and what the consequences would be for immigrant communities at large?
Absolutely, thank you. In New York, we also have a very vibrant immigrant community, and we welcome them. They make our community throughout the state stronger, throughout the state. The SNAP program first already has some pretty stringent limitations on the extent to which non-citizens can receive benefits. So the fact that this bill goes even farther in reducing access for individuals who are legally, lawfully present in our country is of great concern. In New York State, we estimate that as a result of the provisions in the House bill to further prevent legal non-citizens from accessing food benefits would impact about 70,000 individuals. So, these, as all of us have said, SNAP is typically temporary. It is often received by individuals who are trying really hard to work, putting a couple of jobs together. That's no different for these immigrants who are legally present in our country, and we believe that they should continue to receive SNAP benefits and actually would prefer to move in a different direction to expand access for additional legally present non-citizens. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And we focused a lot on the devastating impacts these cuts would have, not just on recipients, but Dr. Schanzenbach, you've talked about how SNAP doesn't just fight against hunger, it actually is a driver of local economies throughout the country, impacting farmers, food producers, grocery retailers, truck drivers, et cetera. Can you just expand on what those economic impacts would be?
Right. There's two types of the economic impacts when it comes to society. One is just during normal good times, and these benefits really help, make sure that people have money to go to the grocery store, so the grocery store gets to hire plenty of checkout people, and the, transportation workers get to, work. And so there's a multiplier effect. There are lots of good studies on how large that is. We're certainly getting more than $1 in benefits for every dollar that we pay in SNAP. What's different, and I think underappreciated in this conversation so far, is how important SNAP is when there's an economic downturn. Because SNAP and because of the full federal funding of SNAP can very quickly expand in economic downturns, that means that people can still go to the grocery store, and it means that the grocery store doesn't have to lay off certain people, and it has often been the most effective stimulus money that we've spent. Like during the Great Recession, they topped up benefits by like 15%. The studies came back and found that they got something like $1.75 return for every dollar that you spent on those increased benefits. SNAP is a very effective tool. It's also particularly effective when there are natural disasters like the fires in California. We saw a little bit about the spillover effects on other people, right? Because we live in a society where our economic well-being is interconnected, and if we pull the rug out from one sector, that's going to have ripple effects.
I appreciate you mentioning that it's not just economic downturns, but with the increasing frequency and scale of natural disasters, the role and impact of SNAP there as well. I know my time has run out. I just want to briefly associate myself with questions and concerns raised by Senator Merkley on disproportionate impact in rural areas of California and across the country. I thank you all for being here and helping dispel some of the untruths, to put it mildly, coming from the other side. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Padilla.